very obedient child. He did everything his mother asked him to do, and he never quivered about it at all. But he was of the age now where he needed to find a job. He needed to go out and do something to help the family, because it was just Jack and his mother. And they were down to their last 5 cabbages. He had to go out and find work. So Jack decided that he would go out the next morning early and find a job. That night they sat down and had a bowl of cabbage soup. Now there's something that you need to know. Jack hated cabbage soup. So whenever we talk about cabbage soup, I want you to help me by saying, yuck. Can you do that? Jack hated cabbage soup.
Yuck.
Thank you. So that night they sat down and had a bowl of cabbage soup.
Yuck.
And he ate it because that was all they had to eat. The next morning he got up and he went down the road. And as he traveled down that road, he happened to see a man with a cart. The cart had a problem. One of its wheels had fallen off. So Jack helped him put the wheel back together and put it on the cart. And when they were done and before the man left, he reached into his pocket and took out a nice shiny coin and put it right in Jack's hand. Jack was so excited. He had earned some money that he could show his mother. And so he walked home. Now, as Jack was walking home, he had to go over a little bridge, over a small streamlet of water. And every day Jack stopped. He looked over the edge of the water, and he waved at his friend and talked to him quite often. Today was no different. Jack came up to the bridge, and he started to go over, and he looked over, and there he saw his friend, and he raised his hand, and he waved at him, and down went that coin that he had in his hand, and it was gone. Jack still had to go home. And when he got home, his mother was all smiles. Oh, Jack! Jack, what did you do today? Did you earn something? Have you got something to show me? Oh, yes, ma'am. I did something real good today. I helped a man fix his cart, and he gave me a coin. Well, Jack, where is that coin? Well, it was right here in my hand. But I waved at the fellow in the water, and it fell in the water. Jack, you are such a silly boy. Next time you get a coin, take that coin and put it deep down into your pocket. Can you remember that? Yes, ma'am, I can. And that night, Jack sat down and his mom put out a big bowl of cabbage soup.
Yeah.
And he ate it because he was hungry. The next morning, Jack got up. He went down the road, and he hadn't gone too far before he found a dairyman that was in need of his help. So he helped him all day long, milking the cows. At the end of the day, the man gave him a jug of milk. Oh, Jack liked milk. And he took that jug and he started to walk home, and then he remembered what his mother had said. And he took that milk and he opened up his pocket and he poured that milk deep, deep into his pocket. And as he started to walk down the street, that milk just squished inside his shoe. His mama said, Jack, what did you do today? And he said, I earned some milk. And she turned it over and there was nothing inside. Jack, what did you do with the milk? I put it in my pocket just like you told me to. Oh, Jack, you are so silly. Next time you get some milk, you take it and you put it on your head and carry it home. Can you remember that? Yes, ma'am, I can. And he sat down again for a big bowl of cabbage soup.
Yeah.
That night he went to bed, determined he was going to get up early so he wouldn't have to eat cabbage soup for breakfast. And this time he walked down the road a little bit further. He met a man who made cheese. And he helped move big rounds of cheese into the cool room all day long. And at the end of the day, the man gave him a giant wheel of Limburger cheese. Now, if you've never had Limburger cheese, it's really tasty, but it's really stinky. I mean, it smells like 2-week-old tuna fish sandwich and a month-old pair of stinky black socks. It's really bad. But Jack took that wheel, very excited about having it, and he walked down the road, and before long he remembered what he was supposed to do with that. So he put that big wheel of cheese on top of his head and began to walk home. Happened to be a very, very hot day, and that cheese, it began to melt down his face. And it got in his ears, and it went down inside the back of his collar, and it got all over him, and before he got to the bridge, his mother said, "Jack, what did you get into?" "Well, Mom, I earned some cheese today." "Jack, you get out there and you get in that river and you take a bath. Now, you are not coming into this house until you take a bath." "But, Mom!" "No bath." "But I took a bath a month ago. I don't want it." Jack was an obedient son, and he took a bath. That night, when he came in, he had a big bowl of cabbage soup.
Yeah.
Well, it was a good thing the cabbage soup was almost gone, because he really didn't want to eat anymore. And he went immediately to bed. The next morning, he went down the street, and before he left, his mother said, "Jack, now the next time you get something like cheese, you take it and you wrap it in some paper and tie a string around it, and you take it behind you. Can you do that?" Jack shook his head that he would remember to do that, and he went down the road, and that day he worked for a butcher. And at the end of the day, the man gave him a big leg of lamb. Leg of lamb. Oh, that would be so tasty. He was looking for it. His mouth was watering. It was wonderful. And he did exactly what his mother told him. Wrapped something around it, tied it with a string, and began to walk behind him. As he was going home, all the creatures that were around could smell the meat, and they all came up and started to nibble on it. So by the time he got home, his mother asked him what he had earned, and he held up a big bone, and it had dirt and grass and rocks hanging off from it. His mother just shook her head. She says, "Jack, we can't eat that. Next time you get something like that, you throw it over your shoulder and bring it home with you. Can you do that?" "Yes, ma'am, I can." And she said, "Now take that and throw it away. I can't use that. We'd all be sick. Rocks in your stomach. What are you thinking?" And that night he went to bed hungry, but grateful that he didn't have to eat any cabbage soup.
Yuck.
The next morning he got up extra early, and he went down the road, and he worked for a man that had donkeys and horses. And he worked all day. He groomed them. He got all the rocks out. He cleaned their feet. He was very good. He worked very hard. At the end of the day, the man gave him a small donkey. He looked at that donkey and he says, started to walk away with that donkey. And he said, "Oh, wait. What did my mama tell me to do before I left?" "That's right. I'm supposed to put it over my shoulder." He looked at that donkey. That donkey looked at him. He looked at that donkey and said, "My mama told me to do it. I better do it." So he went right through the middle of the donkey, and he got his head underneath its head, and he put one arm around one leg and one arm around another leg, and he stood up. Now, you can imagine that donkey didn't like that very much. And he started jerking around like this, and moving like this, and trying to walk down the road. Well, he hadn't gone too far before he started to pass the Baron's house. Now, the Baron had a daughter who had never laughed, had never smiled. And he had promised that if anyone could make his daughter laugh or smile, they could be married, and they could live out the rest of their lives on half of his land and half of his material wealth. Anything, because he loved his daughter so. And he was a man of his word. Well, you can imagine that the daughter just happened to be at that time, walked out on the vergo, and there was Jack, with a donkey on his back, just moving around like this and trying to walk the best that he could. And believe it or not, she got a little twitch. And then it turned into a big smile. She started to laugh. And there's Jack just moving around, all just like this. And she started to laugh a little bit more. And then she laughs some more. And then she's laughing so hard. Tears are running down her face. Her father comes running out. What is wrong? Oh, she could just point. And the father looks. He starts to laugh. He calls everybody else out. They are all laughing so hard. Tears are running down their face. And there's poor Jack trying to walk with his donkey on his back. Finally, the Baron takes pity on the young man and tells his servant to go out and take the donkey off Jack's back and bring him to him. When they finally bring Jack in, Jack is standing there, breathing really hard and wondering what in the world that he had done wrong. The Baron put his arm around the young man and said, "Young man, you have made me very, very happy." "Well, what did I do?" "Well, I promised anyone who could make my daughter laugh could marry her." Jack looks at her, and she's kind of pretty, and kind of smiles. And the girl kind of bats her eyes, and it's kind of cute. And the Baron looks and says, "What do you think, daughter?" And she goes, and he says, "Young man, what do you think?" And so it was that the two became one. And Jack's mother got her own house. And from that day to this, Jack has never had to eat cabbage soup.
Yeah.